Hey guys, coming on here really quick to talk about something that, quite frankly, I think needs to be talked about. Now, bearing in mind, this is not a review of Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, as, quite frankly, I haven't seen the movie yet, though I am hopefully going to be seeing it really soon. Potentially either later this weekend or soon after. And you bet your ass I'm taking this with me when I go to see it. So what is this discussion about exactly? Well, it's about a particular group of critics that, quite frankly, has been driving me insane. So, what is this discussion about exactly? Well, why are critics becoming so comfortable with using this movie as a means to bash the other? I don't get it. Now, don't get me wrong, -1 is a modern masterpiece, and one that I think was truly deserving of its Oscar win. However, for critics to use one film as an excuse to bash the other, in this case Godzilla and Kong the New Empire, especially from those who are supposed to be more professional at these sorts of things? Good God, how do you expect anyone to take you seriously at that point? Make no mistake, comparing and contrasting in of itself is neither inherently good nor bad and can, when done right, lead to some interesting points of discussion when it comes to cinematic art itself. Also, I'm not at all surprised that, generally speaking, the film garnered very divisive opinions from critics as a whole, as this film clearly was not made to appeal to them based on the trailers. However, in this particular instance, it's the crystal clear intent behind said reviews that drive me insane, and you don't even have to look that far in to see what I mean. Now, before we get to this example in question, I want to go ahead and say up front, do not harass this critic, or any critic online for that matter. This whole video is not a hate campaign, and I don't want anyone harassed over doing this kind of stuff. This whole video is done in earnest to put to rest something that, quite frankly, I think is very unprofessional. So, with that said, here's the example. The underwhelming effects give you a new appreciation for what Godzilla -1 did at a fraction of the cost. Okay, firstly, this dude must clearly need a new pair of glasses if he genuinely believes that. Second, while the end results of -1's relatively small production budget speaks for itself in the end, after all, it did win Best Visual Effects for good reason, I feel like the effects in The New Empire are still a feast for the eyes just based on the trailers and whatnot. After all, like I said earlier in the video, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I'm basing this purely off the trailers, and just off that alone, I would say this film still looks really good. It's also worth noting that, while not considerably smaller per se, The New Empire has the lowest production budget of any MonsterVerse film to date at around $135 million. While that's still a lot of money to be fair, I think it's a real testament to the VFX artist's talent that they can still make something that looks this good with considerably less money. And do you want to know what the biggest flick in the nuts is when it comes to these kinds of criticisms being lobbied against Godzilla and Kong the New Empire? It's the fact that the director of that, as well as -1, Takashi Yamazaki, have openly endorsed each other's work leading up to this film's release. So all I'm saying is that if you're gonna make these kinds of comparisons, at least do so with a certain degree of respect for both directors, because I'll be honest, not only is it somewhat disrespectful to Adam Wingard, but do you really think Takashi Yamazaki is gonna appreciate you using his own movie as a means to bash another? I don't think so. So in conclusion, like I said earlier in the video, comparisons are not inherently good or bad, and like I said also, they can be a fun way of bringing about discussion. However, when you start using them to bash another movie, that's when it becomes a problem. So I say this to all the critics out there. If you're gonna do comparisons, that's fine, but just know, intent matters. Use it wisely. So, that's all I have to say for this video, so I'm King Gargantuous, and take care.